Hey guys, this is Apex of War, and I've got some Witcher 3 here for today. I had some requests to put together some early game builds, so what I did is I put together kind of an early game melee and tank build. And what you're seeing right here is the melee build. Now I didn't set this for like an X amount of ability points. What I did is what I'm doing here is I'm kind of showing you the progression in which you should be putting the abilities together. So starting off here with the melee build, as you see, the first 2 points I put in are in the cat school techniques and in rage management, and that allows me to boost my DPS immediately with cat school techniques. And then the rage management is there to keep the shield up, keep your Ken shield up. Early in the game, you know, things hit hard, so you want to be able to have the availability to use adrenaline points if you need to keep your shield up, so you know, you keep yourself from dying against things that, you know, hit hard. From there on, I'm going through the fast and the strong attack columns here, and those are the next points you want to be putting in are in the fast and strong attacks, just going 1-2, the next row down, 1-2, next one down. And then I put 1 point into here into Razor Focus, that way I can get that 1 adrenaline point going into combat. And then from there, you got a good base for strong and fast attacks. I go ahead and invest some into the alchemy tree. So I go ahead and I get the acquired tolerance so I can use multiple decoctions. And then I come over and I put some points into Heightened Tolerance. That way I don't get myself in trouble with toxicity damage. Sometimes, you know, just running multiple decoctions and then popping potions on top of that, you don't want to have to worry about taking toxicity damage in combat. So protective coatings is a nice last ability. That's more for tank though, but if you're concerned about taking damage, that does help. Just keep in mind that you might not have superior oil, so you would have to continuously reapply oil in order to make that useful. Now Razor Focus, you want to go ahead and finish that out. Now from here you got a couple different decisions. You got Deadly Precision, which is a good ability, and then Sunder Armor. Now I personally picked Sunder Armor because Deadly Precision doesn't work against bosses, so Sunder Armor is going to be more useful in those harder fights against bosses because you reduce their damage reduction to deal more damage to them. So that's what I decided to go with here. Just kind of rearranging the ability slots there. And then in those mutagen spots, just put your best red mutagens in there. Now I did pick an earlier save point, a really early save point in my game, so I didn't have 4 greater reds. I actually had to go to alchemy and craft a regular red mutagen for this, but after I do this here, I'm going to go ahead and roll into some gameplay, just show you kind of how the build works. It's very similar to the God Mode melee build, just without the umph of the melee build, or the God Mode melee build. But it's still very viable, and it's a great build for early game. Now my character's level is 40. Now, this was, like I said, a previous save point. So this full ability, or the full build here, is based off level 40, but as you saw, I gave you the progression all the way up to the end. Now rolling into some gameplay here of the build, it's got good versatility between strong and fast attacks, and it does have good survivability too. Being able to keep your shield up with the rage management, using your adrenaline points to keep your shield up, is very helpful, as this build isn't really designed to take much damage. kind of somewhat of a glass cannon. One thing I didn't mention during showing the ability breakdown is the armor that I'm using and the weapons. Really, with the weapons and the armor, I highly suggest the feline armor, the Witcher set. So if you can get your hands on that, that set's going to do you very good early game, and just upgrade it as you go throughout the game. Now here I'm using a slightly different armor setup here with New Moon armor and a levity enchantment on the chest piece, which is actually the best available in the Hearts of Stone expansion. But like I said, going through the game, starting from the beginning, I definitely get my sights set on the feline armor and upgrading that as you go. I'm going to leave you here with the rest of this and then roll you into the tank build. Now going on the tank build here, the armor that I'm using for this is the Ursine armor, and for the abilities here, Bear School Techniques is the first one. I suggest putting your first point into that, and then from then on you want to go into the strength training and resolve right there, and just get your base going for a little bit of melee DPS. Crushing blows, of course. Now, in order to get to the next strong attack ability, you've got to kind of just put 5 points somewhere just to get to Rend. You might not want to make that investment yet, as you might not have the ability points to do that just yet. So if that's the case, I would recommend going to your alchemy tree and going ahead and investing in Heightened Tolerance and Acquired Tolerance. And that will allow you to use a couple different decoctions at once, depending on what alchemy recipes you've unlocked. And then that should unlock protective coating, which is crucial in a tank build, and of course tissue transmutation for that extra vitality. Very good early game. And then after you got those, I would go ahead and put those points in the fleet-footed, or if you could find use in any of those other ones in that in that row, go ahead. But really the point is to get to Rend. Rend's going to be your kind of go-to strong attack from then on. And 5 points in Razor Focus, that will allow you to get to Sunder Armor, and you've got full all the strong attack abilities there at your disposal. Now for this last ability slot, I understand that not a lot of, some of the earlier oils don't have a lot of charges to them. Not until you get to the superior oils that you have 60 charges. So your oils run out pretty quick, and you really need to keep your oil up for protective coatings. So that's why I decided to go with this ability in that last ability slot, so you don't have to worry about reapplying oils, especially if you don't have upgraded oils. And in the mutagen slots, I went ahead and just put in the best red mutagens that you've got. If you feel like you could use extra vitality, you can use the greater greens in the bottom two. I feel the tank build here is decent enough that you can go ahead and put in red mutagens for a little bit extra DPS. But if you feel like you could use the extra vitality, by all means go ahead and put green ones down there. Now I do want to roll you into some gameplay of the tank build and show you how it stacks up. First, before I do that, one other important aspect of this build are the decoctions. Now the Water Hag decoction is just nice to have, for extra DPS, but the Ekimara Decoctions got that vampire ability that is extremely useful, and then this one right here, the Arcos Decoction, definitely jumps up your damage resistance, which is very important to this tank build as well. So if you want to run this effectively, I hope you got your hands on that Arcos Decoction. That's really going to help. So here I'm at the first boss, Blood and Wine, and I'm using unupgraded Ursine gear. I think I've got one piece that's enhanced and the rest of it's just the base Ursine gear. Pop in the oil, make sure you got the right oil for the right fight, and pop in the decoctions I mentioned earlier, and you'll see how well this build can tank. You know, I let him hit me and he doesn't deal a whole lot of damage. Now of course this is the build at level 40, you might be, you know, level 30 or 35. But as long as you got that protective coatings ability and the Arcos Decoction, you should be able to tank just as well as this demonstration. You just might not be able to put out as much damage. Anyhow, I'm going to be bringing you guys some hybrid builds and sign builds for early game coming up, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, there you go. He's going down, and he tickled me pretty much, and that was about it. Anyhow, hit the like and subscribe buttons below, and thanks for watching, guys.